Man, how many times is this Bulls team going to give us a heart attack after what looked like where the Bulls were going to have a cakewalk of a win tonight? They literally had one of the best quarters of their season in the first quarter. Guys were playing impeccable defense, forcing so many turnovers to the Knicks, knocking down shots, great ball movement, everything was flowing perfectly. And that trickled into the third quarter to the point where the Bulls had a 20-plus point lead. I was almost getting ready to start prepping my post-game video since it looked like this was going to be an easy win. And look, I know in today's NBA, no lead is safe, but the Knicks just looked completely defeated. Low energy. They were turning the ball over, getting frustrated. You saw Taj get tossed early in the game. Tibbs was getting pissed, although that's always the case with Tom Thibodeau, even when his team is up by 20 points. But all indicators in this one look like this was the Bulls game, and the Knicks had already checked out by halftime. But then the dreaded third quarter came, and actually the Bulls have been playing much better in the third quarter recently, but the Bulls came out of the locker room not as engaged, getting sloppy on offense, and they let the Knicks go on a big run that cut the lead to one possession. The Bulls maintained the lead in the third quarter, but that 20-point lead quickly dwindled in a hurry. Kind of reminded you of their last game in which they had a 23-point lead against the Hornets and then let that go to where the Hornets brought it back within 4 points. But like in the last game, where the Bulls finally got it together and ultimately beat the Hornets, the Bulls persevered, fought through some adversity, and walked out of Madison Square Garden with a win. Granted, even in the fourth quarter, the Bulls were still pretty shaky. They actually gave up the lead a couple times in the fourth, even as late as the 2-minute mark, and I have to say, I thought the Bulls were done. I didn't think that they were going to be able to come out on top, because all the momentum was on the Knicks side, and the atmosphere at MSG was rocking where it looked like the home crowd was going to get into the heads of the Bulls on offense. But of course, we had our fourth quarter assassin in DeMar DeRozan come up big in those final minutes, especially that last shot where he put the Bulls up 4. And by that point, the Knicks weren't able to recover with less than 30 seconds to go. Yet again, another testament to how great of a player DeMar DeRozan is, and how he is absolutely thriving in this environment and in Billy Donovan's system. I do wish some of the isolation plays in the fourth from both him and Lavine would cease a bit, because again, we've seen the Bulls put together much better possessions when the ball movement is going around and all guys are getting involved. But be that as it may, DeRozan came up big in the fourth quarter, and he was actually very quiet to start the game in the first. The Bulls didn't really need his scoring in that quarter, but when we needed him, he delivered. DeMar finished the game on incredible efficiency, 12 for 19 from the field, did what he does best in drawing contact and getting to the line, shot 10 for 11 from the free throw line. He ends up with 34 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists. You know, people keep saying DeRozan is playing at an MVP level, and to be honest, there isn't a ton to argue against that with the type of numbers he's been putting up and how clutch he has been for this team, and it is translating to wins as the Bulls are now 15-8 and sit second in the Eastern Conference. And how about this? Back-to-back games for the Bulls in which the elite scoring trio of DeRozan, Lavine, and Vucevic all scored more than 25 points. We knew that these type of scoring outings would be coming from these three, and it certainly helps when Vucevic is finally starting to string together games where he looks like his all-star self from last season. Vucevic, once again, aggressive, and not only his confidence with putting up shots, but also in posting up in the paint, even against a stronger defending big in Mitchell Robinson. Vucevic finished the game with 27 points on 10 for 18 shooting, another very efficient night from outside, shooting 5 for 9 from 3. He also had 7 rebounds and 3 assists. Lavine also had another great night. You know, I don't mean to downplay his contributions in the fourth quarter, since I know I was just praising DeRozan there, but Lavine was so smooth in some of his plays, especially in the first half anyway, and Lavine was also doing more than just scoring his 27 points on 9 for 18 shooting. He also pulled down 7 boards and 5 assists, and Lavine finally started getting some calls and was able to get to the line a bit in this game, which is something we've been talking about with Lavine, is needing to be more aggressive in drawing contact and getting your points at the foul line. Lonzo, not really the best night for him, although he's always such a key piece on defense. He had 3 big blocks tonight, but Lonzo missed some pretty big open 3-pointers in which, again, he was wide open late in the game that really could have cost the Bulls had it not been for them being able to get stops on the other end after those misses. But for Lonzo, you know, I think the thing we really need to see from him is his consistency with his 3-point shooting, because he'll have games where he absolutely goes on a tear from deep, where he can't miss anything. And then he'll have a night like tonight in which he goes 2 for 10 from deep and 3 for 14 overall. Lonzo finished the game with 8 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists. As for the bench mob tonight, a little quiet. Like even Caruso, who put in 31 minutes, wasn't his usual self on offense anyway, missing a lot of shots, uncharacteristically, of course, and turned the ball over as well. But of course, he was his usual fiery self on defense as he snatched 4 cookies tonight and remained the league leader in steals per game and total steals. Again, doing all of that, and he's coming off the bench. I was a little surprised to see Troy Brown Jr. get some run tonight, but he did decently well. I still have no idea why Billy Donovan isn't giving Tony Bradley or Alizé at least a handful of minutes to give the Bulls some size against some of these bigger lineups, especially Bradley, who was actually a good little spark off the bench for the Bulls in backing up Vucevic at the beginning of the season before Vucevic entered the health and safety protocol. But hey, I'm not a coach. I'm just surprised that he's not at least getting 10 minutes as Vucevic's backup, but rather you're seeing Derrick Jones Jr. get minutes at the backup 5. But anyway, the bench unit did combine for 8 of the Bulls' overall 10 steals, so the strong defensive unit of the bench is contributing in a big way despite not being the best scoring options. Speaking of the bench unit and scoring options, obviously you all know by now that Coby White has entered the health and safety protocol and will likely miss at least 10 days, which is a pretty big blow for both the Bulls and for Coby himself, who just came back from injury and hadn't even played 10 games yet with the team and was still trying to find his stride. And for all the criticisms and frustrations at times that we put on Coby, the Bulls certainly are going to miss his scoring off the bench, but it yet again does give the rookie Dosunmu another opportunity to step up in Coby's absence. You saw him get 17 points tonight, wasn't a huge impact on offense, but was solid on the defensive end. And how about that lob to Caruso in the first half? That was incredible. I almost fell out of my chair after that. So it will be good for Ayo's overall development and that he'll be seeing more time on the court until Coby is able to get back into the lineup. But obviously another setback for Coby, who is in that critical 3rd year of his development as a player. Anyway, I'm glad the Bulls walked away with a win in this one, especially because it was against the Knicks and I can't stand the Knicks, but at the same time, come on, Bulls, please stop doing this to our nerves. You are single-handedly taking years off of my life watching games like this. I still love it though. It's what makes basketball so exciting and great. The Bulls are staying in New York, where they'll be taking on the Brooklyn Nets on Saturday, which at the time of this recording will be a battle of the top 2 teams in the East. The Bulls are actually 1 game back of the Nets, so who knows, maybe even by the end of this weekend, the Bulls will be the top team in the East, which honestly feels so weird to say as a Bulls fan. I've almost forgotten what it's like to have a top team in the league. I'll have a live chat for that game. Thanks to all those who have been joining those and participating. You can also check out the live chats in the Discord. Link to that can be found in the description. And guys, as always, be sure to subscribe. I'm trying to hit 20,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I'm going to be covering the Bulls all season long, so you don't want to miss out. Thanks again for tuning in, guys, and I will catch you in the next one.